3 words that you would use to describe what it's like to be a student parent.
Stressful, demanding, overwhelmed. Like, this world is not set up for us. It's just barrier after barrier after barrier.
1 in 5 undergraduate students across this country are parenting. It's a large group of students that has been allowed to fall through the cracks of higher education. Student parents are 10 times less likely to graduate because of the systemic hurdles and the barriers that we have placed before them.
It wasn't easy to get through school. I was dealing with housing insecurity, food insecurity. I had slept in my car at one point.
During my pregnancy, the professors just thought I was lying.
I had an in-person class, but I had to drop it just because I didn't have childcare.
You don't come, you get a 0. That's just the way it is.
I feel like I'm always rushing. That constant stress, it just wears you down.
At what point is it the responsibility of an institution to recognize such a large share of the population?
I want you to know that you're not alone. I want you to know that we see you.
As higher education leaders, we need to be solving some of these problems around affordable housing, around childcare.
Each one of them have a dream. My goal is to meet our students where they dream.
Angela Ortiz. I hope that my son is proud of me and that he says, hey, my mom did it, or my mom's a nurse.
This is my favorite space on campus, a space just for kids.
If we design higher ed so that student parents feel seen and included, everyone benefits.
I want to be that positive example for my children.
It's very challenging, but I know I can do it.
I desperately want it, so I gotta keep going.
Powerful, and I think it highlights just a little bit of what parenting students, some of their journey, and throughout this series of 5 shorter films, you can kind of follow these students along, including Abby, who's here with us today.
My name's Jaye, and I co-directed this series with my husband Adam, who's here today. My mom and my dad actually were both student parents. My dad graduated from college when I was 2 years old, and my mom became a single mom shortly thereafter. And she spent most of my childhood going to college, stopping out of college, going back to college, and she finished her college degree a year before I did. And I never thought that I would make a film series about a personal journey, but this project came across our desk, and we thought, we have to tell this story. I think one of the main reasons for it is that you see these student parents who are here today. They had to navigate childcare, their jobs, skipping class to be here. So this is a really valuable time that they're giving. Student parents can't afford to do that across our country. There's 4 million of them, but they can't do that. So we thought, if we tell a story, if we take time out of these students' lives for a moment, perhaps these stories can really represent the 4 million students that are out there, so that you can experience what they're going through and have empathy for what it is like to be a parent and be on campus, and hopefully advocate for the supports that student parents need. Sorry, that was not very brief.
Hi everybody, my name is Brittany Andrade. I go by Britt. I'm a 1L law student over at American University. I just finished my undergraduate in New York, where my son was born in the middle of final week my freshman year. So I've been student parenting basically my entire time in education. And for me, I went into education because I got out of the military, and that was the next step for me. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, family planning also happened at the same time in my life. So here we are.
My name is Kwame Presley, and I go to Ferris State University. I'm putting the right word.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's however you want. You don't have to go the exact word right now.
All right. My name is Kwame Presley. I go to Ferris State University. I went to a community college. I went to a tech college. Graduated both of them before that. And now I'm pursuing a higher education in information security and intelligence with a double minor in military science and economics. So why I chose to keep on getting a higher education, because I believe in world peace.
Well, hi everyone, my name is Bediako, and I actually just graduated from my community college earlier this year in May with my associate's degree in criminal justice. I'm currently attending University of Maryland Global Campus, also majoring in criminal justice, and my minor is with business administration. I decided to go to school after dropping out twice, is Atheena Martinez. I am currently attending Hilo Community College with a transfer to NAU next fall. I have an associate's in electrical. I'll be pursuing my bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. What else was it?
Why did I go to school?
So I ended up going into college because I got tired of everybody saying that I couldn't when I knew I could. So being that and with my children watching me and even my older kids were like, Mom didn't do it, they were trying to drop out of high school. So that's why I ended up going back to school. I ended up pursuing my GED at first and going further, got my electrical certifications. So I am a certified electrician, and then I pursued and got my associates this May.
For me as a child, growing up and watching my own parents go through trying to get their degrees, we didn't have the resources that we have today. We have some of the institutions have that, but I felt like I was the only, when my mom brought me on a college campus, I never saw any other kids. And so it felt really ostracizing, and I didn't feel like there was this belonging. And what was really rewarding and kind of redemptive, because I will have to say, like, I am so grateful my parents went through higher education, but it was really difficult. Like, we struggled with housing insecurity, mental health challenges in our family, childcare, and I have a younger sister too. So a lot of that responsibility fell on me growing up to take care of her. And I'm so grateful to see that we're moving in a direction where we do have supports. And I think that was the most surprising thing, to see places like Howard Community College building a child care center on campus, having a space in the library that was okay to be a kid. I was always quieted in the library, like I shouldn't be there. And so I think if we're gonna think about not only supporting student parents, there's a duality there, right? We are also supporting the next generation of learners. And we have, as institutions and policymakers, have an opportunity to either turn students on to the idea of higher education or turn them off. And that is a position of power. And I think that we need to take that seriously. How are we encouraging not only student parents to finish, but also captivating the minds of the next generation to pursue higher education?
For me, I would say the biggest barrier would definitely be housing. For part of my journey, me and my husband were homeless for a couple months when I first started school. Just because the rental assistance in our county and the rent prices, like it just wasn't adding up for me. I wasn't able to afford rent, and I was working full time. I was a student full time, and there's other bills to pay as well. I'm taking care of a child by myself as well. So trying to do all of that and still pay all my bills on time, that was like my biggest thing. And then unfortunately we lost that.
So with me, when I first moved back to Michigan, I was homeless, and then that when I wanted to get back to school and stuff like that, didn't get the help that I need because of course I get a little VA benefits, but they thinking that's going to be enough to survive. Cause a lot of times you need like 2 times rent and whatever, and like I'm not getting enough for that. You need to show that I'm doing that. So so it started off homeless, so that was kind of hard for me to get into and get to school. So I couldn't get in school because I didn't have a physical address and all this other stuff. So after that, figure out a way, this couch surfing, figure out a good address, and then I ended up getting into GRCC, getting into.
You all have totally different. You all live in totally different areas. You all have completely different experiences, yet you all have very similar experiences. And the thing that stands out to me as I'm hearing your stories is like access to basic needs can very much impact your ability to complete or stay in, even just access school, let alone stay in school. Yet your whole goal for staying in school is to no longer be in a situation where you're struggling to meet these basic needs. And so I think that that's super helpful to highlight. But then also what stands out to me is the resilience and the drive that even though these things are happening, even though you're facing these things, even though you're living on just a few hours of sleep at night, you're still doing it and you're still pushing forward. And I think that to me that's powerful to me as an individual.
So I joke sometimes that my schedule is more regimented now than it was when I was in the Army, because it has to be. So I get up at 5 in the morning. It is the only time that my son is not awake. things in the car. My son normally gets up between 6:30 and 7 because we have to get him ready for daycare and out the door by 8. My husband, luckily, is able to take him to daycare every day because his daycare is in the same building where my husband works, and so my husband does a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to childcare. He drops him off, he picks him up, which means that instead of an hour and a half of commuting, I spend 45 minutes commuting from Northern Virginia to American University's campus every day. I have class 5 days a week, and so I normally get to campus by 9, and then I spend from 9 until about 4 o'clock doing schoolwork or being in classes, trying to network if they're having any kind of like networking opportunities, and then it's drive back to my home. I'm normally back in Alexandria by 5 p.m. After battling through traffic, and then we do dinner, bath time, bed, and then I do about 2 more hours of reading, and I have a hard stop time of 11 because I'm like, I need to be in bed by 11, because if I'm not in bed by 11, I'm going to not exist the next day. So I'm like really strict about that. What advice that I wish I could have given myself when I was like really afraid of going back to school and being 28 in a classroom with 18-year-olds is, it is okay to ask for help. This idea that we are doing this on our own and that we are struggling because that's the right way to do this is not fair, and it's not realistic. Like, my classmates had people helping them. They had parents who knew what college was like. They had people who could look at their essays, who could be like, hey, go work at my friend's firm for the summer so that you can find out what this feels like and what this job looks like. Like, everyone gets a hand up, regardless of if you see that hand up or not. So take the hand up. It's okay. And if you don't take it, the only person that's going, the next person will. So you might as well. Like,